It was a crisp March morning at Eielson Air Force Base, and the crew of a B-47E Stratojet were polishing their flight jackets, not their nerves. The plane sat on the tarmac like a sleek, metallic potato, its 4 turbojets humming with promise. Their mission? A routine navigation training flight over the Arctic, a Cold War rite of passage for Strategic Air Command crews. They were carrying 2 Mark 6 nuclear bombs, but the payload was treated like any other piece of cargo, secure, silent, and, in the crew's mind, far enough away to be nothing more than a safety checklist item. The flight plan was simple: climb to 40,000 feet, follow a series of radio beacons across the North Slope, then loop back toward Fairbanks. The crew relied on a magnetic compass, a series of NDBs, non-directional beacons, and an early inertial navigation system that was about as reliable as a teaspoon in a blizzard. The Arctic, however, has a way of muting signals and scrambling compasses. By the time they crossed the 70th parallel, the aurora was painting the sky, and the instruments began to disagree. Captain Charles Whitaker, the pilot, noticed the compass needle wobbling like a nervous toddler. He tried to correct, but the magnetic variance over the pole was beyond the manual charts they carried. The navigator, Lieutenant James "Jimmy" Aldridge, punched numbers into the D5 system, confident that the old-school backup would save them. The result? The Stratojet veered 120 miles east of its intended track and slipped into Soviet airspace over the Kola Peninsula, a region peppered with radar stations and anti-aircraft batteries. A Soviet P-2 Daisy radar operator blinked a red light and shouted, "Intruder," triggering the rapid launch of 2 MiG-19 fighters. They roared toward the B-47 at a speed that made the bomber's crew's stomachs drop like a weight in a freefall. The pilots radioed a challenge, and the Soviets answered with a hail of warning flares that illuminated the night like fireworks at a funeral. Whitaker's voice crackled over the radio, "Mayday, we have entered unauthorized airspace, request immediate clearance to egress." The tension in the cockpit cracked like ice under a dog's paw. The navigator tried to re-establish the beacons, but the radio frequencies were futile. Those Soviet stations only broadcast in the language of the enemy. With no clear path home, Whitaker pulled the throttle back and turned the aircraft around, fighting the storm's tailwinds that threatened to push them back in. The MiG stayed on his tail, their guns pointed forward, their pilots circled with a patience that hinted at something far more dangerous than a simple warning. Minutes stretched into what felt like an eternity. The B-47 finally crossed the Soviet radar horizon, the red flare fire fading into the dark. The 2 jets broke off, their pilots likely reporting a foreign bomber, intercepted, no engagement. The Stratojet limped back to Alaska, its crew shaken but unharmed, the nuclear bombs still secured, the secret still intact. The incident was logged in a thick, classified file, its existence whispered only in the corridors of the Pentagon for years. It never made headlines, never spooked the world, but it proved how a faulty compass and an overconfident crew could have nudged the Cold War a few steps closer to nuclear fire. When we watch history's quiet corners, we're reminded that some of the most perilous moments never had a soundtrack, only the low hum of engines and the thin line between a mistake and a catastrophe. What other near misses are still hidden in the cold shadows of the Arctic?